dirty little secret is right now, over 60% of the new clients that come to me have a mess, and they have people making that mess. Most people do not have the ability to present everything to AI in a format that's going to work.
Hello. Welcome to the Marketing for Accounting Firm podcast, where we mostly talk about accounting firms and sometimes talk about marketing. And today I have Mike Sylvester on. You may know him if you're on tax Twitter at all. You've probably taken in a poll or two that Mike puts out there. And we're going to learn about his firm. Mike, thank you for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's a great day in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I'm glad to be here.
Very good. Tell me, give us a little bit of context. What's your firm like? What kind of practice do you have?
So our firm is a 3-partner firm. We do a lot of payroll, bookkeeping, tax compliance services, and we're moving towards tax planning services. We have a lot of year-round work. We slow down after April 15th. We don't have a second or third tax season at all at my firm. My staff's currently working 32-hour weeks in September, October, August. We don't ramp up for a second or third season, but our first season is a bit rough.
Yeah. So you've at least partially solved what seems like the biggest challenge, especially with folks who have a lot of tax clients, is that it extends into the rest of the year, or it's incredibly difficult, during the tax season. Give yourself a grade. Where do you feel like you're at on that spectrum of we've got the tax side of things figured out versus this is still a work in progress?
I think we have it figured out. We actually pay overtime to our staff who work over 40 hours. They like it. Twice a year, I ask my staff, I say, hey, do you want to do something to where we even out our hours so they're more even? And every year they say no. We like it this way. We're in northern Indiana. The weather's not so good in February and March. And, they like having 37 3-day weekends a year in the slow season.
Yeah. No, that's great. Well, Mike, how did you get to this point? I know you're wearing your Navy hat right here. I know a little bit about your story, but tell us your own personal journey to being an owner of a firm.
Well, it's a roundabout path, that's for sure. I graduated high school in 85. I went to college. I dropped out after a year. I didn't want to be there. I did dead-end minimum wage jobs for 3 years. My God, I sold vacuum cleaners. I was a security guard. I worked at a gas station. I worked in factory. Then I joined the Navy, and I had 3 different good offers from the military to be an Army CID operative, to be a Navy cryptologist, or to be a nuclear power specialist. Okay. I was a big Star Trek fan, and William Shatner had this recruiting video for nuclear power saying nuclear power was the final frontier, and it sold. And so I went that route, spent 6 years in the Navy on this submarine out of Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Met my wife there. She's, of course, from Indiana as well, but we met in Hawaii. She actually had a degree in international business and was pursuing her post-bachelor certificate in accounting. And got out of the Navy, got married within 2 months of getting out of the Navy, worked at a civilian nuclear power plant. I actually have operated a crane and moved irradiated fuel rods in a spent fuel pool before. So that's something most CPAs probably have not done. And after that, we went to rotating 12-hour shift work, and I hated it. So we moved to Kansas City, Missouri. I became a licensed electrician in a steel mill. My dad died. We moved home. I became the lead electrician at a foundry. Okay. Then from there, I moved to a Pepsi plant where I was the electronics technician / computer expert. After that, I switched to a factory where I was the maintenance and purchasing manager for 4 years. And after that, we decided I was going to go back to college. I was helping my wife part-time. She was running a small business out of our house, bookkeeping and tax compliance. And she was a CPA by then. My plan was to go back to college, work under her for 2 years, become a CPA, and then go be the plant manager of a steel mill. But I liked working for her. Okay. And I joined her firm as a partner, and the rest is history. I've worked in public accounting and run a small CPA firm ever since.
And how many years is that now?
So I graduated from college in '06. I became a CPA in '07. I
Okay.
became a partner in the firm in '08.
I mean, that is quite the roundabout way to get there. I love a good, winding path. My own journey, I have a degree in fine arts in conceptual installation sculpture. So obviously that's why I do marketing for accounting firms now. But you know, it's interesting to me how life experience builds up to make people really effective, I think, in jobs other than the ones that they necessarily started in. And I think I do really think that that level of breadth of experience can be really beneficial to clients. I found that in my own life. Would you agree? How do you feel like your life experience affects you as a firm owner
Oh,
and an
it's
advisor?
definitely affected our firm. I have a lot of blue collar clients. I have a lot of clients who are electricians. I have
Mm-hmm.
some clients who run small factories. You know, I've really tried to get them away from it, but man, I've had conversations about how to upgrade their electrical systems and how many compressors they should have. And, I mean, when I look at the equipment a new client has, I actually know what all of it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty different than your normal accountant. It's worked well for me. I don't necessarily come across as a typical account.
I think I'm a big believer. There's an idea that different is better than better. And, sometimes it's not sometimes, most of the time, it's better to really connect with and appeal strongly to a smaller subset of people than just to be broadly acceptable to a larger group. And so it sounds like your ideal clients find you and resonate with you and with your way of doing business.
I think so. And when I meet with blue collar people or people who are in industry, I often tease them and say, "Hey man, if you pull in my garage, you don't think I'm your accountant, you think I'm your contractor." And then we'll talk about tools for like 10
Yeah.
minutes because I have everything.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, let's dig into the firm a little bit. What has the trajectory of growth and how has your firm changed over time?
So in the beginning, it was my wife and I. Our families thought we were insane. Our families kind of semi tried to have an intervention with us when
Okay.
when I went back to college because they're like, "Why are you leaving a job with benefits as a maintenance manager for factory?" After I became a CPA, Karina and I built a building, and when we moved into it, we moved into a 2,000 square foot building that was just she and I.
Okay.
And I remember our family coming and walking through and like, "What are you going to do with the rest?" Like, "We'll hire people the next couple of years." And they're like, "But you don't have enough clients for that." I'm like, "Well, we'll go get them. It's okay." They thought we were nuts.
Mm,
And basically we moved from operating out of our house to a commercial building. That radically changed our client base. You don't gain a lot of higher end clients when you work out of your house, at least back in the early 2000s. I
sure.
think today is a different world. I think COVID has made working from home a much more accepted thing.
Yeah.
It was not as accepted back in early 2000.
Right.
And then what we did is we decided, well, we're married, we get along great, but we decided we better get a third partner in case we need to break a tie.
Hmm.
So one of the guys I went to college with was an Army veteran. We were kind of older than everybody else. In our graduating class, he was one, I was two.
Hmm.
And he went and worked for E&Y for 2 years, and then we hired him from E&Y and convinced him to come join us for a couple of years and then become a partner. And he's been a partner in our firm since 1/1/11. So there's three of us. We have a fourth CPA who's worked for us for about 15 years, who's stay-at-home mom,
Hmm.
and then we're a firm of 10. We don't really want to grow beyond a firm of 10. We might grow to a firm of 12.
Yeah.
We're kind of actively fending off all the clients who, not all, we're screening them, which
Sure.
which is a different conversation.
Hmm.
But successful firm, happy, in a good place.
Yeah. If you had to point to like one decision that you have made in the way that you approach business that had the biggest impact on your success, is there something that comes to mind as like this was the key decision for us?
I think my past experience made it to where, I mean, I've been a member of management, been a member of 3 unions. We pay hourly. We pay overtime over 40. We take good care of our staff. Our staff is all paid in the top, probably 10 to 15% with benefits in our town. In fact, my firm of 10 pays better than these big giant firms in my town.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking. But I think I liked being treated well when I worked for other people. So we work pretty hard to treat our employees well. We've had a flexible schedule for our staff since the first one was hired. I think that's what's worked out well. My turnover is less than 5% a year.
Yeah.
In public accounting, that's unheard. And I think that's made us very successful.
You know, that continuity, I'm sure for your clients too, the continuity of relationship is really beneficial to them. You know, the efficiencies that you get, you know, by working with the same team or like an established culture and expectations and all that. I think there's a lot of benefits. And I think we both know right now hiring is one of the biggest challenges, I think, for so many firms, finding qualified people and building a business that can support, honestly, the salaries that are required right now and making people want to stick around. I do think that is a huge challenge. Technology can fix a lot of things. There's a lot of interesting things, I think, happening in the accounting industry, innovative ideas of how to approach it. But the thing that is always going to be true is that at the end of the day, you still have people, both your team and your clients that you have to take care of. And that's going to be, I actually believe in the direction that we're going with AI and technology, that in certain ways it's going to become more, the people side of things becomes more important as we automate away or use technology to support task work. The ability to have a strong team culture and client relationships becomes a big advantage, I think, to firms that have figured that piece out. And the ones that think, oh, we'll just fix everything through technology, my personal opinion is that's going to be less important than maybe they think it is.
I would actually agree with you. I think that automation is great. I think we're going to do more of it, but garbage in is garbage out. And garbage in will always be garbage out. And you need people to ensure that you don't get garbage in. And relationships right now are really tough because clients don't like AI chatbots. Some of them are pretty good, but clients don't like. And sometimes clients just want to talk to a person.
Yeah. There's a tension, right? Because I've also talked with firm owners who say they're frustrated with their like practice management system because it doesn't generate paper invoices that they can mail out because their clients want to send them checks. And so on one hand, I understand the idea of like, we want to help our clients grow and join, you know, the modern way of doing business. And we need to help, you know, shepherd them along in a way that they can handle and that, you know, protects that relationship. And because I think that's in a lot of ways, that's what they're paying for is the relationship. That the deliverables matter for sure, but like that connection matters a lot as well.
Well, and I think that we're really bifurcating as an industry in that regard. I think there's a lot of old school, old guard firms who necessarily don't want to make that change. But I think what some of the younger, newer firms don't understand is those firms also have clients who don't want to make that change, right? And in the end, you have to do what your clients want you to do, or you have to get different clients.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of change in the accounting industry. And since the shortage of accountants is so high, there are some very successful firms that have just said, look, you're going to do it our way, or it's the highway.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to accelerate significantly in the next 2 years. I mean, in my time, there's only 14 medium-sized firms with 2 to 10 CPAs. There's 14 of them who on 1/1/26 are telling they haven't done it yet. They're going to tell their clients they're going to advisory only. And between them, they're going to drop 1,600 clients into the market. And the 1,600 clients they're going to drop are the ones that don't want to do all that.
Yeah. I definitely want to keep talking a bit about your firm, but as I've observed you online, it seems like you're thinking about the industry in general. I would say you seem like a person who's thinking broadly about a lot of things. You know, you dip your toes into the political side of things. I don't know if you'd call yourself this, but I feel like you really try to be kind of a raging moderate of some sort,
Yeah,
like right, you know,
I think so.
and then you also have a lot of thoughts about the industry in general and, you know, policy, especially around, you know, tax and things that are happening at the IRS. What what are you most optimistic about, and what are you most concerned about in more of a general sense around the accounting industry right now?
I'm most concerned with the firms that are getting left behind. There's a lot of firms in my area specifically that are getting left behind. I do a lot of consulting engagements with people who want to buy CPA firms.
Mm-hmm.
And 85% or more of the time, I look at the firm and do some analysis and tell them to pass.
Yeah.
There are a lot of unsellable firms. And what's happened is there's a lot of firms that have one or two owners. They are well past retirement age. They don't have a succession plan at all. And their processes and systems are 10 years old, if not older. And not only do they not want to change, in many cases, you'll find their staff is their age and doesn't want to change either. And a lot of their clients don't want to change either
Right.
because they've been doing it that way for 50 years. So I think that there's a big problem in our industry with some firms racing ahead, other firms staying where they're at. I think there's a lot of opportunity, but man, I've seen some people buy some firms they should not.
Yeah.
What am I excited about? Well, I'm excited about the fact that I think a lot of people in our industry have finally realized that they don't want to die working at their desk. They don't want to work 90 hours a week during tax season. They don't want to work 50 hours a week year around. They are looking at ways to cut their hours. They're raising their prices. They're embracing technology, and they want to have life.
Yeah.
That's encouraging.
You know, I think you and I are probably on the same, closer at least to the same position, but there's a lot of talk right now. If you talk to someone outside of the accounting industry, they're predicting that it's just going to be eliminated by AI in the next few years. Like, and AI can just do all this stuff. What's your answer to
I just think
that
that's
sentiment?
funny because it's so garbage in, garbage out. It's just not going to happen. Now, do I think that smart accountants who know how to use AI will have a competitive advantage over accountants who refuse to use AI? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Do I think that accountants should be learning about AI and should be automating processes? Yes, I do. Do I think that they will have a competitive advantage over those who don't? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Will AI replace accountants? No. But what's going to be fascinating to watch at this point, and I mean, my goodness, there are two ways you can make a lot of money for Mike Sylvester. Number one, you could be private equity and you could buy some of my competitors nearby, and then I will gain a bunch of new clients because that doesn't work. And number two, you could unveil some big AI-oriented bookkeeping and tax system, and then garbage in is going to become garbage out. And then they're going to have to hire somebody to fix it all. Because the dirty little secret is right now, over 60% of the new clients that come to me have a mess. And they have people making that mess. With AI, most people do not have the ability to present everything to AI in a format that's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that even in marketing, which I think in many ways, let's copywriting, design, it's more straightforward. I think the risk of AI, you know, in marketing is a bit more straightforward because the risks are lower, right? So using ChatGPT to write marketing emails, there's a low risk that's going to be a terrible thing for your business. It might not work as well as a really great copywriter. In accounting, there's a pretty high risk when you're handing over the materials and the data and saying, hey, just do this for me. I find it, I think one of the most hilarious or interesting responses is that when people from like the AI kind of tech side come in and think they're making some sort of bold proclamation about how, AI is gonna take over and eliminate all of these accounting jobs. And everyone that I know in the actual industry that knows what they're talking about is like, bring it on. Like, do, there's two options. Either you're gonna, like you say, you're gonna break things that's gonna lead to more business for me, or you're gonna create tools that I can use within my system that are gonna make life easier for me. But almost no one is worried that this is actually. Now I don't know. Maybe we're both overly optimistic, but I don't see people who are really worried that this is not the death knell to the the job of a person who is helping business owners and individuals with their taxes.
I do not think it is the death knell for people in my profession, but I do think that lower end white collar jobs are very susceptible to being automated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you are watching this and you do everything manually by paper and you work in an office, your days may be numbered.
Yeah.
You
And that's
need
those-
to invest in some new skills.
Yeah. And that's those firms that you're talking about that are getting left behind. And I know in my industry, it's writers and designers who refuse to grow and learn about the new technology and those sorts of things. So, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break here. I'm going to do some ad reads, and then we're going to come back. And I want to talk a little bit more about some tactics and the technology that you use in your firm. So we'll take a break here. This podcast is brought to you in part by TeamUp. TeamUp is a recruiting firm that helps you hire direct in the Philippines. But how do you hire in the Philippines? Do you need to understand Philippine employment law? There really are two main options. You can hire a contractor where you pay them directly and they handle their own tax and compliance, or you can work with an employee of record, or it's similar to a PEO. They handle the payroll and compliance. They pay the employee, you pay them, but they aren't involved in any of the day-to-day work or management of your employee. TeamUp is not an employment of record, but they can refer you to one if you want. Either way, the day-to-day experience is the same. So if you've been considering hiring in the Philippines, but you're worried about everything being above board from an employment and compliance standpoint, TeamUp can help guide you through that process. You can learn more at hireteamup.com. Again, that is hireteamup.com. This podcast is brought to you in part by Works. Now, not every firm is going to build their firm the same way. Everybody has a different idea of what they want, the goals that they have. And if you're growing and you want to expand your service line, that might include payroll. But there are different ways to do payroll. The nice thing about Works is that it gives you options. If you want a trusted partner that you can refer clients to, Works has a great option for that. They call it the Referral Partner Program. If you want to build a payroll practice within your firm where you're the one offering payroll to your clients, Works can do that as well. They have a network partner program that gives you the back office support you need to offer payroll to your clients. Either way, Works puts you in control of the way that you want to grow, and you have a trusted partner who's got your back the whole time. You can learn more about both of those programs at works.com. That's WHIRKS.com. We are back. Mike, it sounds, when I hear you talk about your firm, the word that comes to mind is like intentionality and stability. Sounds like you're pretty well set up. You kind of know what size team you want. You're happy to take on new good clients, but you know what your ideal client profile looks like. What, in the growth of your firm, where do you typically find your clients now? How do they find you? And how has that changed over time?
So in the beginning, I was in charge of our marketing. I'm still in charge of our marketing. I remember when my wife first started our firm in '01, I remember driving around and dropping off flyers at people's offices to help her out. We have probably sent over 100,000 direct mail pieces in our firm. I have used color. I've used cards. I've used letters. I've used black and white. I've timed it. I mean, I have sent so much direct mail that it's almost scary. And I'm going to tell you, it worked really well for us until it didn't.
Yeah.
Right? And you learn, you track everything. You track where every lead comes from. You track how much each advertising campaign costs. We used to run ads in magazines, newspapers, regional newspapers, direct mails to homes, direct mails to new business owners, which was wildly successful until it wasn't.
Yeah.
But the key is to track everything. You know where everything comes from. You look at the timing of everything and you track it. And that's actually the first thing I train new people to do is I will know where every new lead comes from. You will find out.
Yeah.
If you don't find out, you will call them and you will find out.
Are you
And
doing that mostly manually? Just asking how they found you, or are you using analytics or technology to do any of that?
so our current system we're changing, but right now we don't spend any money on marketing.
Yeah.
Last year we had 530 potential new clients that I know of. And when I say that I know of, that are recorded, that I know where they came from, that number is for last year. We actually do a little bit of analysis on it. A fair number of referrals. The rest are from Google.
Okay.
They're for internet searches. I don't do pay-per-click anymore. I used to. I stopped in 19 when I didn't need it anymore. But you're a marketing guy. If you do a keyword search for Fort Wayne CPA, what firm comes up first? Mine does.
Yeah.
It has since 2007, right?
Yep.
Because I wanted to.
Mhm.
So what we do is we have a blog. We put up 3 blog posts a year that updates my website content, that keeps my SEO rankings pretty good. They're not as good as they used to be. I used to be the top 3 in the 11 search terms I wanted. They've all slipped to the first page because I don't need more than 530 a year, right?
Yeah. Of that 530, how many of those are individual, like tax clients versus business leads?
Probably 2/3 are 1040 only.
Okay. And
I
do you
would
have
say.
do you have a do you have a do you go into each year or each season with a goal of we want to add this many clients both on the individual and the business side, or how do you
Yes.
determine, because 500, you said 530 something?
530 last year.
Okay. So 530, I'm assuming you're not taking on, you don't want to take
Nor,
on
nor
530.
even close.
So what are you doing to qualify and decide who you do want to bring?
So our current system is we have a full-time admin that has some extra time outside of busy season.
Hmm?
So what happens is all new clients, whether they email us or whether they call us, get directed to her. She has a 2-minute phone script that she goes through with them.
Hmm?
She says, hey, we are taking a few new clients. You have to be qualified as a new client because we're not taking everyone. Most firms in town are taking clients. And I'm going to send you an email. If you don't get the email in the next hour, call back and call me. Ask for me, and I will figure out what went wrong and send you another email. That email is a link to an onboarding.
Mm-hmm.
Client must fill out the onboarding. The onboarding form has about 14 questions. They must answer all of them. They must acknowledge our minimum fees.
Mm-hmm.
They get explained to them and have to acknowledge that there's a shortage of accountants.
Mm-hmm.
Most firms aren't taking clients. Here's what we're looking for. Only fill this out if you want a long-term relationship with a client. If you just have a one-off thing, you probably should not even finish the form. We're
Right.
pretty blunt in this
Yeah.
form, to be honest with you. But in the end, half of them fill out the form and half don't. The half that don't, we're done. We never reach out to them again. We used to, but we don't have to now.
Right.
Because the half that fill it out is sufficient.
Yeah.
In fact, the half that fill it out is more than sufficient because we can't take that now. So then we look through that app.
Mm-hmm.
I assign them out to my partners. We charge onboarding fees to meet with us,
Mm-hmm.
basically an initial consultation fee. And then we have an initial consultation with them, and them and us determine if we're a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
I also have several firms and a community of people who, if they're not a good fit for me, maybe I'll send them.
Yeah. So good client, you're not going to like dropping a problem on somebody else's lap, but for whatever reason they're not a good fit, you can refer them on. to.
And some I just send an email back saying, I'm sorry, we can't help.
Yeah. Let me do a little bit of interpretation here just for anyone who's listening to this, because here's what I'm hearing. So one, you're an established firm, you've been around for a long time, and early on you invested in SEO. And so when we think about Google, site authority, which, how long your site has been around matters, the links that are coming to it matter. I'm assuming some people are probably clicking on the map for you. So like Google
Yes.
reviews are a big deal. The size of your market, all of these things I think are they're working in your favor where you have a very well established internet presence. And so what we would say is you're very findable when people are looking for the services that you provide. And to be honest, most firms, if they can get to where you're at, they're going to be fine. You don't need to go out and find clients if you're very findable in a reasonably sized market and you serve a broad enough, client base that's going to give you your 500 something leads a year. And so because of that, you actually have more of the problem of options, not of needing leads. And so what you've done is you've actually added friction to your process, because the challenge is not that you need more clients, it's that you only want good clients, or you might take on better clients. Are you strategically letting go of any clients year over year to make space for good new clients?
So we have 3 partners. Each partner handles it kind of as they see fit. My let go list is 0. Over the last 4 years, I have let a significant number go. If you're not a good fit, you are no longer my client.
Yeah.
My partners have a few maybe that they will realize that they probably should let go. And they are maybe not letting all of them.
And not to put words in your mouth, but the other thing that I hear is, I mentioned earlier, stability and intentionality. You have chosen what type of firm you want. You're not chasing a hyper growth idea. It's in a lot of ways sort of the prototypical lifestyle firm. It works for your life and for your employees, and you have growth goals that are manageable. You're getting plenty of leads. Is that a fair description, or would you think of it differently?
I think that's a very fair description. If we wanted to be a firm of 20, we would be a firm of 20. It wouldn't be hard to do in this environment at all. It'd be quite easy, to be honest. We're very comfortable where we're at, where we have an office. Yeah. All of our employees except one generally want to work in the office. Once the office is full, we're good. Unless we want to hire some remote people. There is, as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any competitors. There's an infinite number of work out there. If I were to start advertising, I would be afraid of the response I would get. Right.
Well, and, one of the nice things, there's different ways to success for sure. But one of the things, I don't know if this is your plan or not, but if you build a really solid lifestyle firm that works for your life now, eventually, if you want, you can sell it. And you're also going to it's easy to sell, and you'll probably get a good return on, the firm that you've built as well. Whereas sometimes you can get over your skis by trying to chase growth to the point that it's not actually manageable and the type of firm that someone would really want to buy. There's not the stability of relationships or the process.
Oh, I'm retiring on May 15th, 2029.
Yeah.
All of my staff know that.
Yeah.
I have set a date. It's before I turn 62. That's my goal.
So what do you want to do between now and then? Like, what's the goal?
So I personally have been to 39 countries. I hope to be at 50 by the time I retire. I hope to be at 100 by the time I'm 70, if I live that long. Inside my firm, we have just established and had 2 people agree to become tax managers. We gave out qualification cards directly from the Navy. Each person has to get each of the 3 partners to initial next to a total of 7 things. So there's 21 items they have to get us to sign off on. When they do, they'll get a $4 an hour raise, and they'll be able to review tax returns. Then after that, we have a road to partner qualification card if you want to become a partner in a firm.
Mm-hmm.
We greatly would prefer to groom our internal replacements.
Mm-hmm.
We started working on it 5 years before we retired. We work on it a lot. I'm doing a training session on it in 2 weeks to people about X, Y, and Z that's on their call card.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to record it so that anyone else who wants to attend that training later can. So we're trying to groom our staff internally to replace it.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
No, that's great. It's like I said, it's interesting to hear different people, and obviously at different life stages and different career stages. There's a lot of ways to success. I think one of the important things is you do really need to know, what does success look like for you, because it might be different than what it looks like for someone else. And it seems like you have a lot of clarity around what that is, and you're content and have a good plan, on how to accomplish what you want to do.
I think that we will succeed, but we will see. But we've been working on this plan for quite some time.
Unless AI.
I have a backup plan. I have 8 different firms have reached out to try to buy us this year.
Right.
I mean, if we have to sell, we can't.
Yeah, you're set up with really great options. Let me take a little bit of a hard turn here, just to dig into some technical things about like how you run your firm. What's your tech stack? What is most important in terms of either both processes and technology, in terms of how you accomplish the work and how you deal with, and it could be anything. I think different people.
So that's really seems like the tech stack anymore is in constant flux.
Mm-hmm.
We have built our firm around Sylvester and QuickBooks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not happy with Intuit. We're moving our payroll completely away from Intuit. We do a ton of payroll. We do payrolls for 200 clients. A lot of them are subchapter S corp, so we're just paying the owners for reasonable comp. But Intuit has made things hard on us. That's for sure. We started with TaxDome as our tax practice management software. We overall like it. In fact, one of my partners and 2 of my senior staff accountants went to the TaxDome Roadshow yesterday in Chicago, learned something new that we think we can use. We're playing with AI a fair amount. We have paid Chat GPT. We looked at BlueJay pretty hard. We're a Microsoft shop, so 365, Outlook, etc. We're considering changing how we accept payments. We're going to look at Anchor and Ignition pretty hard. We're looking at CPA charge and Stripe as well. Kind of want to automate more payments. We're looking to move into package pricing on 1/1/26. So it just feels like you're going to constantly change and analyze that.
Yeah.
And if you're not looking at it, you're making a mistake.
Are you more of a like researcher, demo, kind of test it for yourself person, or do you rely on community or other people in terms of your recommendations?
I really rely on community to get started.
I know you have a community. We'll talk about that in a sec. How do you find your peers, and where are you going to get that information, answer those questions?
So I spend a lot of time on X. There's a community of CPAs and EAs that's associated with what we call Tax Twitter. We get together once a year. We just had our 3rd annual event. The first one was a complete shot in the dark. We had no idea if people would show up to meet strangers out of the blue, but they did. We now have about 150, 160 people who meet once a year in person and who met each other online. That's given us all a network of people. I remember helping somebody with Indiana PTIT taxes. I had somebody help me with tiered partnership basis because I had no idea how it works. So I have a really strong community of people on X that I talk to. The events we call Tax Retreat. We just had our 2nd one in Denver. That's a great group of people on X. And then Rebecca Driscoll and I started a community of accounting firms. We're closing in on 200 members. It's very common that I will reach out to them by putting up a post or having a live session, say, hey, what are you using for payment software? What are you using for tax software? How do you handle this in Taxdome if you use Taxdome? When my wife started our firm, nobody would talk to her because she was a competitor and accountants were competitive.
Yeah.
That has changed a lot. There's a lot of people who are willing to help you, and there's a lot of great communities out there that you can access to get help from.
Yeah. There's a real, I'm involved, or I'm fairly active at times on X, Twitter, and I've been to the tax retreat twice now as a vendor. It's a great community. There's two things that I think I personally see as great. One, despite the polarization and the toxicity of most social media, I think that there's a quite diverse group of people that are involved in the tax Twitter kind of community and discussion. And I think that we would benefit as a society more from having non-ideological reasons to connect. And so like having a shared profession is a great thing. And I think that group is, it's not always, sunny skies, roses and all of that, but generally it seems like a really generous group to each other and caring, for everybody. The other piece of it that I'll mention is with community. So, this is the accounting industry. More and more, the real conversations are happening behind closed doors, like open conversation, collaborative, generous, but in places that marketers and other people don't have access to. So when I think about everybody that serves the accounting industry, the important conversations about your software are happening in Mike's community or in Jason Stat's community, like behind, in these forums. And for those of you who are in accounting, those same conversations are happening behind closed doors amongst any niches that you serve or the customers. This is one of the, I'm kind of a skeptical marketer in many ways, maybe bordering on cynical at times, where I feel like there's a lot of things on the internet that are broken, that are not working well. They're not serving customers well. They're not serving, I think, good faith, small business vendors, accountants, marketing agencies, all that. It's not the best situation. And people are responding to that by saying, I need to find people that I can trust because I can't trust the internet anymore. I can't trust a Google search. I can't trust, the marketing messages from they're so sophisticated, but it's slick marketing, terrible product. We've all had that experience. And so this is my own little like soapbox rant, but I think if you're in the accounting industry, you need to be a part of a community because you're going to get better advice and information by being a part of that. And then if you're an accountant serving any sort of niche, you need to be meeting people who are in those communities as well, because that's where you're going to get insights that you need about what they care about. And I think, I don't know, if a conversation I keep hearing is that I wish from accountants is they wish that the people serving them listen to them more. I know you mentioned Intuit. I think that's been an ongoing conversation, but it's true amongst a lot of these bigger.
Thomson Reuters people will say the same thing. I mean, there's no doubt. I actually would go a little further than you. I think most people should probably be a member of two communities because each community is different.
Yeah.
But if you're part of two, you can put up the same question and you'll actually get somewhat different answers in some cases.
Yeah.
Each community is different. They kind of specialize in their own thing. I probably know a dozen that I think do a good job at what they do.
Yeah.
And if I know of a dozen, there's probably more.
Yeah. Well, okay, Mike, you mentioned your community. Give us your pitch. How would someone know if it's a good fit for them to be a part of your community?
So the Collaboration Room is a community for tax professionals, accountants, and bookkeepers who want to learn how to grow and improve their firm. Almost all of our members are in firms with 30 people or less. A majority of the members are at firms with 6 or less. I do run a mastermind group in it that we call the Big Mastermind Group, where I get together with people at bigger firms. And ironically, my firm at Penn is less than the average size in that group. Always kind of surprised me. Yeah. We have more members with firms of 20 to 30 than I would have expected.
Yeah.
But We have 9 coaches. We're running 12 live sessions this month that run for an hour. You sign up for the ones you want. We record 80 to 90% of them. The ones with private information, we don't record. We're having an AI expert in. We're having 3 on quality of life. We're having 1 on package price. We're having 1 on marketing. We're having 2 that are on various tax topics. Each month in the off season, we tend to be having 10 to 12 live sessions. I've got an outside PE expert coming in. I have an outside expert coming in on buying and selling firms. We just have a lot going on. This last week, I just got the email. We had 40 different posts about different topics in the last week, and there were 130 different responses from various people. So what will happen is people will put up a post that says, hey, how do you do this on a tax return? Like 4 people. And it just gives you a way to bounce things off others. Originally, I thought there would be almost entirely people from, I'm going to say tiny firms, but that is not the way it's actually. I would say our average is probably somewhere between 5 and 8 members in the firm, but it's a big range, so it's just hard to say.
Yeah. No, that's great. Mike, this has been super interesting conversation. It's great to hear your story and learn more about your firm. Is there anything that you would say, our audience, it's mostly accounting firm owners, but we also have people who they wear the marketing hat within their firm in some way. Is there anything that you'd want to say just in general to the audience?
So I love marketing as well. I'm certainly not a professional marketer, but track it. Track everything and have purpose. Go into the year with a plan. I have a plan. I don't quite follow my plan because I've gotten lazy because more people reach out to me than I need. But you should go into the season with a plan. You should follow the plan and you should track the results of the plan. And if you cannot go back and tell me where all of your clients came from in the last 5 years and you're spending money on advertising, I'm going to make fun of you.
As you should.
Flat out, right?
Yep.
And in your experience, most firms don't do that, do they?
No. Most they're either chasing shiny objects. They're switching up their plan every couple of months because it doesn't seem like what they're doing is working, or it's just throwing spaghetti against the wall, hoping something will stick. But they're not. Lack of plan for sure is a problem. Lack of tracking is another problem. The easiest. I'll just give like one easy takeaway for anyone listening to this. If you don't have a how did you find us question on your contact form, what I would suggest is it should be open-ended, text box, and it should be required. So don't give them a list of things to choose from because that may not give you the information you actually need. You may find out that there's one person who's referring lots of people to you. And so you want to know who that person is instead of just referral, right? So this is my advice. Single text box, make it required. How did you find out about us? And like Mike said, definitely be tracking every lead. Your CRM probably should have a field where you can find out everyone.
You'll be glad to know that I have that in my onboarding form. And you'll be glad to know that if they say referral from a friend, my admin must figure out the name of that friend.
Yes, that's great. Very wise. All right. Well, Mike, I think we will leave it there. Again, this is the Marketing for Accounting Firm podcast. My name is Matt Banker. You can find us at marketingforaccountingfirms.com. You can find information. We also have a community there, the Marketing Incubator, which is for anyone who wears the marketing hat at an accounting firm, whether you're an owner or an admin. And I hope that you subscribe, like us on whatever app you use for your podcast. That helps us out, helps other people find it. And I think we'll leave it there. Mike, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
This podcast is brought to you in part by Works. Here's the thing. Clients don't love having a hodgepodge of a bunch of different advisors. Really, they would love it if they could get the advice that they need from one trusted source, and that source could be you. Offering payroll through Works allows you to become more of that advisor. Whether you're referring your clients or you're building a payroll practice of your own, Works will deliver the back office strength and support that your clients expect, and you can stay as the hero and trusted advisor in their story. Learn more about how to partner with Works at works.com. That's WHIRKS.com. This podcast is brought to you in part by TeamUp. TeamUp helps hire directly for accounting firms in the Philippines. What is hire direct? Hire direct means that you have a direct relationship with your team. There's no middleman. That person is part of their team just like anyone else. They follow your processes, they share your values, and they're part of your culture. Just like hiring someone remotely, but locally to you, it's the same thing. You're just hiring in another country. So how does it work? They join your team meetings and they are fully integrated with your team, same as anybody else. It's really easy. You can find out more information at hireteamup.com. Again, that is hireteamup.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Marketing for Accounting Firms podcast. If you liked this conversation and found it valuable, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's really good for the algorithm and it helps other firm owners find this show. You can subscribe to our weekly Marketing for Accounting Firms newsletter at marketingforaccountingfirms.com. And you can connect with me, Matt Banker, on LinkedIn or Twitter. We hope you tune in next time for another episode of Marketing for Accounting Firms.